Hello, everybody. We are the No Respect Gamers back for another podcast. This episode, well, as you can see, the bracket is out for the Best Year in Gaming contest, and we're going to do some analysis on it. We're just going to do the top half this time. A lot of good matches here. Joining me today are Dabu and Peter. I think you guys probably remember them from previous episodes. Dabu or Peter, you have anything to say right now? Should we just jump right in?
I think this is going to be a fantastic analysis. I mean, the bracket just came out. I've already seen on the boards, people are all over the place. I think there's going to be a lot of controversy, and I think we'll be able to help the board users sort out some of the tougher matches.
All right. Well, we are going to... Oh, Peter, do you want to add something?
No.
Okay. We're going to jump right in. We're going to start from the very top. We will do the wild card rounds when we come to them, but we're going to start round one. First match is 1995 versus 1986. Now, I said there's some really good matches. This one, I mean, does anybody think 1995 is going to lose this?
I think 1995 is a really strong year. I said that before in our original podcast, and I think people were a little skeptical because they thought Chrono Trigger was the only thing it had. But I think it's got a lot of other games and systems going for it. Now, I think one of the big controversies for this contest is how much do the system releases actually matter? Are people going to associate a system with a year, especially if it's listed, or are people more going to associate systems with the games the years they came out? What do you guys think about that?
Well, I think it's a good point, but I do have to say I don't think it's relevant in this particular contest. 86 has nothing. It's going to get crushed.
Yeah, I get what Dabu's trying to say, but yeah, I mean, in this specific match, 95 is just going to roll over it.
So what percentage do you think 1995 is going to get in this match?
80, 85?
Like, at least.
Yeah, at least. I'm being generous to 86.
I mean, looking at 86, we got notable games. Bubble Bobble, Balloon Fight, Ikari Warriors, Outrun, Space Quest Chapter 1. I mean, what? I actually don't recognize any of those.
You don't recognize Bubble Bobble?
No, I was not alive when this game was released.
You missed out on a fantastic game, and I think it's the first game that really encouraged co-op play, as anyone who's beaten it by themselves will know.
I know Ikari Warriors from the AVGN episode, but obviously Bubble Bubble, but besides that, I don't know anything. Everybody unanimous for 1995 winning?
Yeah.
Okay. I do want to add one thing. We have all done extensive research towards like the games that came out each year and the systems that came out each year, but we are just going to use the games that show up in the question mark that you click because that's what the average voter is going to do. So it's kind of unfortunate that we're going to have to throw away all the research that we've done, but it happens. Moving on to the next match.
Wait, is that really what we're doing?
What? Speak for yourself.
Alright, I'll speak for myself. So the next match I think is actually one of the more intriguing matches in the first round. I don't think any of these years has a chance of winning next round, but this is going to be a really good match. You have 1985 versus 1987. Some of the NES classics in both years. What do you think, Dabu? Who's going to win this?
In my bracket, my gut instinct was to take 1985, although I could see either year winning. I feel like looking at the lineups, 87 actually has a stronger lineup, but I think Super Mario Brothers is such a big name that it and the release of the NES can carry the entire year. I think a lot of people are going to look at this and pick 87 because of Zelda, it has Metroid, it has these big names. But I think that's the same mistake people have made in contests past when they take these second-tier Nintendo characters over Mario, and then they get egg in their face because Mario is just such an iconic game and such an iconic character that ultimately I think 85 is going to take this match.
I'm going to have to agree with you. I went back and forth so much on this because 87 has a catalog of really good games, but 85 has Mario and the NES, and I just couldn't pick against it. What do you think, Peter?
I think this will be close. I did also pick 85, but I could see this one being like a 60-40, 55-45. Honestly, going either way. I would not be surprised if 87 won.
it's gonna be a really good match. I'm excited for that. Let's move on down to 2001 versus 2014.
Let's just keep moving on because this is an obvious 2001 win. This is like another 90-10 scenario.
Yeah, Melee is good. Melee and Final Fantasy X, because I don't think Halo or GTA 3 are gonna be that big, but obviously 10 and Melee are gonna be huge. Plus GameCube and GBA.
And Xbox.
I don't think the Xbox
Xbox.
release is
Xbox
that
doesn't matter.
significant. But I think more important in this match is what 2014 doesn't have, and that's that it just doesn't have anything really notable to me. I mean, it has a lot of sequels, but nothing that I think GamePAX will really jump all over.
So here's a few games that GamesFAQ doesn't include in their tooltip for 2014. Dark Souls 2, Dragon Age Inquisition,
Dark Souls 2
Destiny.
is on the thing.
The Binding of Isaac Rebirth, Game of Thrones Telltale, Hearthstone, Danganronpa. There are a decent amount of games.
Okay, so Destiny is hated. Now Binding of Isaac isn't bad. Obviously Hearthstone.
Shovel Knight.
Yes, Shovel Knight and Hearthstone both made the list for best game ever, as did Destiny. Although I don't think people are gonna vote for Destiny. But yeah, like there's nothing that sticks out to you though, is our point. Like, and if you just look at the Super Smash Brothers, it's Melee versus 3DS/Wii U.
I mean, Melee is going to carry this year far.
Not a whole lot to add.
So what do you think the pictures are going to look like?
Didn't we have a discussion last time?
It looks like they're picking individual game covers, at least for the tooltips. Like for 2001, it's got Final Fantasy X and Grand Theft Auto 3. For 2014, it's got Bayonetta and Dark Souls 2.
Well, but it's already been established that the pictures are going to be user submitted. So what kind of things do you think people are going to submit? Like for 2014, if someone submits a Smash Brothers picture, don't you think that can make a big difference? If it has just like Mario and Link in it,
No. It's
without people even reading the games?
2001's gonna have that too.
Yeah, they'll probably think, oh yeah, 2014. That was the year that Melee was released.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like the pictures are going to make a pretty big difference in all of these matches.
Picture
Not in
is
this
worth
match
1,000 words.
specifically, But I mean, 2001's obviously going to win this. But I think sort of in general, a lot of close matches could be swayed quite significantly by what the picture looks like.
Perhaps, but that's if the picture completely misrepresents what that year is about. If 2014 has a picture of Mario and 2001 doesn't, then that's just a travesty, because it shouldn't end up like that. Sure, in that case, it might affect the results. But if they both have Mario, and probably the game title, then 2001's just going to destroy 2014. All in agreement, 2001's going to win.
All in agreement so far.
So this is our first playing game, 1979 versus 2009. I mean,
79 doesn't have anything. Well, it has, what, asteroids? But
Lunar Lander. But yeah,
whatever.
not that 2009 has a whole lot either, but the only thing I was wondering about is, like, isn't Minecraft hated on this website? I wonder if people would vote against it.
I mean, I don't think people really care for it. So I
I
don't think
don't-
they hate it. I think hate's way too strong of a word to use.
I don't know what these users think about Dragon Age Origins, but I definitely liked that game quite a bit. Street Fighter 4, I like that too. People liked Batman Arkham Asylum, right? Not my type of game, but I think it was well received.
Yeah,
I can't see 2009 losing.
they're pretty loved games. I don't know if I'd say love. They're pretty liked games. Street Fighter 4, not so much on this website. But Uncharted 2 and Dragon Age are.
I mean, but
Yeah.
1979 popularized the Easter egg in video games. That's got to be worth something.
Funny you should mention Easter eggs on this
I know.
holiday weekend.
Happy Easter, everyone. What are you guys doing?
2009's gonna win, everybody agree?
I'm resurrecting. Yep.
Yeah, 2009 stomps.
And then we have 2008 versus 2009, which I think is.
So is this going to be back to back, or is the wild card rounds happening first?
I bet they did the playing rounds
Yeah.
first.
Wildcards will be first. I don't really. I don't know. I mean, I never played Grand Theft Autos or Metal Gear Solids, so to me, 2008 looks like nothing really happened. But I guess if you like those games, maybe it was a big year.
So
I had 2009 advancing.
I actually have 2008 winning because although GTA 4 isn't going to get any votes, having Fallout 3 plus Super Smash Super Smash Brothers Brawl is just going to carry 2008. There's nothing in 2009 that can really
I
compete with
mean,
that.
Brawl was like the most disappointing release of all time.
But it's still a Mario game. 2009 doesn't have any of those.
It's not a Mario game. It is a Meta Knight game.
I remember going to the midnight release for Smash Brothers Brawl. One of the few games I've ever done that for.
I mean, we can all agree that both these years are pretty meh. One of them has to win, though.
I think 2008 wins pretty easily.
I have that as well.
It's got Smash Brothers, which I mean, Brawl is not the best title in the series, but it's still a solid title. It's got Fallout 3, Metal Gear Solid 4 is fairly well liked, and 2009 just doesn't have anything that really jumps out to me.
Let's move on down. I know we have to talk about this, even though it seems pretty straightforward. 1997 versus 1999.
We need to talk about this, really?
Not really.
I mean, it
What
sucks.
do you think 99 has? The release of Dreamcast?
It sucks for 1999. It has some good games. Like, if it was facing a different year, it'd have a chance. I mean, Suikoden 2, Final Fantasy 8, like, those are legitimately good games. It just sucks that it has to go up against the monster that is 1997.
I mean, 99, the best game it has is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, which is great. But, like you said, up against 97, no chance. Actually, who did these seeds? This is terrible.
I think it was somewhat random, although I think they intentionally put 97 and 98 on opposite ends of the bracket. But that's just a guess, I don't know. I mean, I agree Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is a great game, but I doubt the average GameFAQs user thinks so. So I'm just going to go ahead and move on with 1997.
I mean, you want to know the most notable game in 1999? In my opinion, it was Star Ocean: The Second Story. But I don't think anyone else cares about that.
I do.
I know, it's a fantastic game.
What with this?
I mean, I think we could do an entire podcast just from using sounds from that game, sound clips.
Alright, we will...
Get yourself some poison pills! 10,000 volts!
We will discuss that later. Moving on. 2007 versus 2012. A couple of meh years. 2007, I think, is the favorite here.
Yeah, I also picked 2007. I think Mario Galaxy is a fairly strong title. I mean, it's a big Mario game. It's actually a really good game, and I recommend you play it if you haven't. And, I mean, I also like the orange box. I don't think that carries much weight on GameFAQs necessarily. And I believe you recently played through Mass Effect. What do you think about that?
Mass Effect 1 is kind of meh. It's not Mass Effect 2. But it's a series that is pretty loved. So that would garner some votes. Even though 2012 also has Mass Effect, it has Mass Effect 3. Mass Effect 3 is considerably more hated than 1. So if anything, that will help out 2007.
I don't know, Peter, do you have anything to add?
No, 2007 is going to win.
Remind me, how do people feel about the Wii U on here?
I don't think anyone feels anything about the Wii U.
I think most
it's sort of
people
like a
forgot
dead,
it.
lifeless console.
Okay.
I honestly did. One of my friends said that he was playing Zelda Breath of the Wild, and I said, "Oh, cool, you got a Switch, huh?" And he said, "No, I played it on Wii U." It's like, Wii U. Oh, right.
Alright.
I
I hadn't thought about that in about 4 years.
2007.
Well, you know what other notable release was in 2012 that caused a lot of controversy? Diablo 3. That was a big release that year. It was one of the best-selling games on the PC.
It's all the more reason
I just
for...
threw up in my mouth a little bit.
All the more reason for 07 to win. Moving on, 2000 versus 1990. If you guys recall, we had a lot of debate, a lot of heated debate about 2000 and its strength as a year. It's going against a year with a really good game, but I think 2000 is going to overwhelm it.
I mean,
It's really hard to pick this one, honestly.
Really?
I feel like it's like you have to basically ask yourself how much weight can that little raccoon tail of Mario Brothers 3 carry? And if you think it's enough to win, then I think there's no problem picking 1990. But it's got to do a lot of heavy lifting against 2000.
But 2000 does have Pokemon. Let's keep that in mind.
Yeah, gold and silver. Who cares?
Is Pikachu
Well,
still in the
2000 also had the release of the PS2, which I think is pretty big. But a lot of the really big games from 2000 are pretty polarizing. Like Majora's Mask, people either love it or they hate it. Same thing with Final Fantasy IX. They either love it or they hate it.
game? So here's how I feel. I think Mario 3 is the best Mario, but people on this site disagree with me. They pick Mario World. And that's why I picked 2000, because if they don't like 3 as much as World, why would they vote for that over like these great games in 2000? That just doesn't make sense to me.
I think a lot of these people are too young to really appreciate Mario 3. I still remember when I got it and played it, and I loved it. I was in kindergarten at the time.
When you were 16. Oh.
Yeah. I brought the instruction manual then the next day for show and tell.
You know, I had the player's guide for Super Mario Brothers 3, and I'm pretty sure I brought that to show and tell in like first grade or something. It had it had all the solutions for the memory puzzles, you know, where you have to match two things together.
Yeah, the bottom right cards are always the same. Always goes mushroom, flower, star in order, if I remember right.
So what do you guys think? I'm gonna vote for 2000 here.
I also
Yeah.
voted for 2000.
Yep.
That was anticlimactic. 83 versus 89.
No, but I mean, even if we all pick 2000, it doesn't mean that we pick 2000 decisively, necessarily. You know what I mean?
No, I get what you're saying. It'll be closer than I probably expect. So with 89 versus 83, I picked 89.
I picked 89 also.
I also picked 89. Although I just noticed that 1983 saw the release of the Apple IIe, which was a badass computer. I love playing games on those. Oregon Trail, Number Munchers, Odell Lake. There's a fast food delivery game. I can't remember what it was called anymore.
How does GameFAQs feel about like Apple products? Like, what if they put a picture of Steve Jobs on the picture?
I mean, but this is classic Apple. This is where the mouse was optional. I don't even think there was a mouse for this computer.
I think a really good picture for 1983 could win. It could win conceivably, because it's got Mario Brothers, and if that's sort of the focus of the picture, I think people will vote for it, not realizing which Mario Brothers they're talking about. Because the name of the game is Mario Brothers, so it's going to say that on the polling, and it's going to have a picture of Mario jumping up against something, knocking a turtle over. I can see a lot of people voting for it mistakenly. I mean, I realize I just insulted the collective intelligence of the GameFAQs.
I mean, they're all idiots.
That's fine. That's a good point, though. I mean, my understanding was that 89 would have Tetris, like a picture of Tetris and Mega Man. Plus, maybe the Sega Genesis and Game Boy, and I felt that would be enough to carry it versus 83.
Tetris was certainly enough to carry the Game Boy.
So I have 89 winning. What about you two?
I also have 89 winning.
Yeah, me
But
too.
I think it's actually going to be closer than people think.
There's too much agreement going on here.
Well, and I think we can also agree that that's only 1 point. Doesn't really matter because 96 is going to crush whichever one.
No, it definitely matters though. Every single point's gonna matter. So like, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of people thinking that there's going to be perfect brackets
Yeah.
this time around. Just because it's a smaller tournament and a lot of the matches people feel are pretty predictable. So every point, I think, is going to matter.
So we have 89 advancing to go against 1996. So if 89, okay, I don't
That's as
see
far
any,
as 89
I
goes.
don't see any way 89 can win. 2 Mario games, Nintendo 64. It's just no chance. Anybody want to say anything about this?
I love
96
Mega
is
Man
strong.
2, but it's not enough.
96 is really strong.
We will move 96 on. Let's jump back up to the top. Remember, we're just doing the top half right now. 1995 versus 1985. I accidentally advanced 95, but it's not really an accident because it is going to win.
I also picked 1995, but it really depends on how much the system releases matter, I think.
Well, you got PlayStation versus the original Nintendo. Those get
PlayStation.
the Saturn.
I feel like there's a
Virtual Boy.
bias for the Nintendo, but I think that bias is actually, now that I really think about what I'm saying, I think it's mostly towards the Super Nintendo actually and on. I think the NES is just a little bit too early.
Yeah.
It
So
was
the more
very
I think
square.
about it, the more confident I am in 1995.
I mean, let's just be honest. Which game would you rather play right now, the original Mario or Chrono Trigger?
Probably the original Mario.
I'd rather play Oregon Trail.
That's good, pronunciation. I believe that's how Oregonians say it. They just say Oregon. But when you say Oregon Trail, it's like you're following this disreputable surgeon who's littering organs from all of his surgeries all over the country. You have to pick them up and return them to their owners before the kidney expires.
So what happens?
That sounds like a fun game.
What happens if 85 is just a picture of a bunch of organs?
I'd vote for it.
I think I would as well.
I mean, 85 is just going to be a picture of Mario 1, like every year or every round it's in.
And 95 is gonna have Chrono Trigger plus Baby Mario with Yoshi. It's gonna have NES plus the PlayStation. I think 95 wins.
All right, 95 it is.
01 versus 08. 01 I think wins this.
Wow, we really are in agreement
Yeah.
about everything.
Well,
I mean, I'm sorry, but Melee beats Brawl. Final Fantasy X versus no Final Fantasy.
Does Melee beat Brawl though? In the GameFAQs contest, I believe Brawl beat Melee when they had the Game of the Decade contest.
Was that when Brawl was new?
It was newer,
Well, yeah.
but I mean, it wasn't like the year Brawl came out or anything.
So it seems like over time, Brawl's reputation has gone down. So I would think over time Melee would be looked at more favorably, especially due to
It
its
is amongst
resurgence.
the hardcore fighting community. Like Turbo, for instance, would take Melee in the heartbeat if you asked them. But I think GameFAQs users are not that hardcore, except when it comes to RPGs and doing like low-level quests. But other than that, I don't think they're that hardcore about anything. So I could see them picking Brawl as more of the more fun, casual game.
I don't know. You're making me
However, 2001 has Final Fantasy X, which is an RPG that I think has a lot of love for it. Even though it's pretty polarizing at the time because people didn't like the main character or his voice or a few other things about the game, like the fact that it was really, really linear. I think it's still pretty well liked on this site.
So I picked 01 without even thinking about it.
I thought about it and ultimately decided on 01, but I could make an argument for 08, I believe. I'm curious to hear what Peter thinks about this, though.
Well, I actually had 2009 beating 2008 in my bracket. But I don't know. I vote with my heart. I don't vote with my brain. So when I see Super Smash Bros. Melee, which is one of my all-time favorite games, I'm picking that one. Plus, I love the original Halo. I have a lot of fond memories of sticking plasma grenades on my friend and him freaking out at me. And Final Fantasy X was pretty good. I don't know. For me, 2001 is a pretty clear winner. I don't feel like 2008 and 2009. I don't know. I feel like neither of them really has any big game.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I have awesome memories of Halo 1, but, average GameFAQs user doesn't. But I still feel like Melee and 10 are loved enough to just win this easily. And by easily, maybe I'm over exaggerating that, but maybe like a 65-35.
So the other thing to keep in mind, and we haven't really talked about this, but the last contest was decided by a rally outside the internet. Not outside the internet, but outside the website, elsewhere in the internet. And one of the games that was a big benefit from this, aside from the obvious one, was Smash Brothers Melee. It had a huge rally to take it over Chrono Trigger. Do you see people coming and rallying for that game again?
I am making my picks assuming no outside interference because you can't predict something that is unpredictable. We don't know what games are going to get rallied.
Never can predict the unpredictable.
No, you can't, but you can make predictions based on which games got rallied in the past, right?
But I was reading some discussion about this on GameFAQs, and do you think people are really going to rally for a best year in gaming? Like, I understand a best game ever contest because you're looking specifically at that game. But I think for a best year gaming, it wouldn't matter as much. Because, I don't know, I don't see people rallying for a specific game in a specific year.
Yeah, only League of Legends fans would do that. But we already ruled out their game.
Thank God.
It's 2009, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Well, we had it winning the play-in. So, did everybody pick 2001? I did.
Yeah.
I did as well.
I'm gonna move that on. Although, like, 1997 versus 2007, I don't really know what to talk about. I want to add some kind of analysis here, but what is there to say? 1997 is gonna win.
Let's not. Let's keep this trim and lean and just keep moving because 97 is obviously going to win. 2000 versus 1996.
This is a good one.
This could be some. I mean, I think 96 is going to win, like pretty sure, but 2000 could do something. Right? It could maybe.
2000 and 2001 were kind of my dark horses. The problem with 2000 is it has no Mario game, while 1996 has two. And that's pretty
Not only does it have two, it has two good games.
Yeah, two
or at least two games considered good.
Especially on GameFAQs. Mario 64, and then GameFAQs freaking loves Mario RPG. So
It's so good.
it's not a bad game. I think it's a little overrated, but that's for another episode.
I think you're a little overrated.
So I think I picked 1996 as well, just because of the Mario games plus the Nintendo 64. I think the 64 beats the PlayStation 2 if we're looking at consoles.
I also picked 1996 for pretty much the same reasons you did.
I also picked 1996 for pretty much the same reasons that Dabu did.
But this breaks my heart because 2000 has so many good games. But all right, moving on. 1995 versus 2001.
I picked 2001.
I picked 1995.
I picked 1995 as well. Let's discuss our.
This is a very. I think this is similar to the last game contest we had, where people gave us a lot of crap about our podcast for taking Chrono Trigger over Final Fantasy X.
And then what happened?
Chrono Trigger looked ready to win the entire contest before the internet interfered. So we were the only ones who correctly assessed Chrono Trigger's strength, and I think we're doing that again. I think this is pretty much a rematch, right? It's Final Fantasy X versus Chrono Trigger. Now, each of these games has a lot of support because 2001 also has Melee, right?
And Halo.
Nobody cares about Halo.
Negative. Halo's a negative.
Everyone cares about Halo. The first one, everyone played the first one and loved it.
No, I love Halo, but not everybody.
Remember
on this
when Halo
website.
was a 1 seed in one of these contests and then lost to a 16 seed?
That was because the internet rallied around its opponent.
That's true. But it still was a 1 seed that lost to a 16 seed, and that just never happens.
I mean, don't blame the sin, blame the sinner.
Okay, but anyway, back to 95 for 2001. 2001 has, I think, 2 games that are really carrying it. I mean, it's got a lot of other games, right? It's got like Grand Theft Auto and Halo and whatnot, but I don't think those games really are going to make too much of an impact. I think the games that do are Final Fantasy X and Smash Bros. Melee. More so Melee than Final Fantasy X, in my opinion. So it really comes down to, is Chrono Trigger plus the release of the PlayStation, which brings all those fond memories, enough to take on Melee, and to a lesser extent Final Fantasy X. And my gut pick was that yes, Chrono Trigger and the release of the PlayStation are sufficient. But I bet a lot of people are going to be picking 2001. So I feel like my 1995 pick is an upset pick.
That's how I feel as well. Looking at Chrono Trigger's performance in the Best Game Ever contest, it was riding high. And I think it's going to continue that momentum. Chrono Trigger has aged amazingly well. It looks great today. It still plays, it's still one of the most beloved JRPGs out there. If you go to the JRPG subreddit, it's still many people's favorite game.
So what distinguishes a JRPG from an RPG?
That's a completely different podcast.
Well, but when I played Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI and Lufia 2 and Star Ocean 2, they were just called RPGs. And I don't like to hear 15 years later that we have to rebrand them to appease some liberal sociocrats demagogue idea that, you know what I'm saying here?
Let's try to keep this on topic. So, Dalba, you're voting 1995?
I'm voting 1995.
I am voting 1995.
I may
too.
change my pick though, but right now I'm thinking 1995.
Sorry, Snow. It's 2 versus 1. 1995 is going to move on. But
I don't even know why I show up to these things.
I think we all agree it's going to be an incredible match. Let's move on to the last match we're going to analyze today. We're going to save the semifinals and finals for a later episode.
Oh, we are? Oh, okay.
Yeah, we are. 1997 versus 1996.
This is so tough.
This is very tough. Now, 1997 and 1998 are considered the 2 strongest years. But, man, 96 ain't bad.
I could definitely see 96 winning this. So much that I almost really want to pick it. Because I feel like people are going to rally against Final Fantasy VII because they have this idea that Final Fantasy VII always wins these contests, even though it hasn't in over a decade. So I could really see 96 pulling this off.
96 is so good. 97 is so good, but 96 is so good. Oh, Mario 64? Oh, man. But 97 is so good.
So I will be the first to admit what I picked. I went with 1997. I know 96 has 2 amazing Mario games and then the release of the 64, but I kind of figured that Final Fantasy VII plus GoldenEye would... Well, GoldenEye is not that big, but definitely Final Fantasy VII.
I mean, there's a lot of other games released in 97 that aren't on this.
Yeah, no. I'm just looking specifically at...
Like Mario Kart 64, Star Fox 64. For the platforming fans, Mega Man X4. For the few people in GameFAQs who play computer games, the Monkey's Island came out that year. So, I mean, 97 is stronger than just its leading title. It's stronger than just Final Fantasy VII and Symphony of the Night.
But
It's got a lot of things
96
going for it.
has that 1-2 punch. Mario 64, it hits you right in the jaw, and then Super Mario RPG follows up in the gut, leaves you winded, rolling on the floor, dying.
I don't know. I was more impressed by Kirby Superstar and Tetris Attack than Mario RPG.
Don't take that tone with me.
I mean, Tetris Attack was a fantastic game. I mean, how many of you guys spent so many dorm nights playing that with your roommates? Or is that just me?
That was just you.
I played Tetris Sphere more than Tetris Attack.
Really?
Yeah. Well, in my college days, it was already internet. The
that's
internet
true.
was out.
That's true.
So I did play a decent amount of Tetris, but it was TetrisFriends.com. Which I don't see why. Where's the PC? Which year has the PC release?
Well,
That's an
whoever
important
put
year.
this together didn't really put many of the PC games on it. I mean, they listed Age of Empires for 97, but I feel like that's not the notable PC release from that year.
Oh, definitely not. Even like Fallout 1 isn't really a notable release.
Yeah, so I don't know.
So I picked 1997.
I also picked 1997, but I'm really tempted to change it.
I think you should change it. Lest you forget that 96 also had Suikoden, Lufia 2, Rise of the Sinistrals, Dragon Force,
Well, I'm not picking what I would
Donkey
rather
Kong Country
to
3.
advance. I'm picking what I think other people will pick to advance.
Yeah,
Why don't you have a little backbone? Stand up for your beliefs and say that they are the best beliefs and everyone else should have them too.
I mean, I guess I could say that, but I don't know. There's
No.
$1,000 on the line.
Both of these years are good. I think either one winning is fine, but I pick 96.
I'm going to stick with 97 for now. Don't be surprised if on my actual bracket I change it.
All right. So in our final four, our first two entries are going to be 95 and 97. Not really to the surprise of anybody because everybody knows that the late 90s are going to dominate this contest. But there's definitely going to be some good matches coming up in the second half of the bracket, which we will analyze in a future episode. Any other topics you think we should cover before we conclude?
I'm sure there's lots of topics we should discuss, like this removal of hotkeys from the new StarCraft patch. What's that all about?
So the removal of hotkeys is really dumb. People should be able to use their customizable hotkeys. Simple as that. This is coming.
I don't see why you would ruin a perfect game by introducing customizable hotkeys. The game is perfect. You change it in any way, you tarnish it. You completely destroy its spirit, everything it stands for. This game was the pioneer esport, the best RTS ever. Why does everyone think that they know, oh, if you change this one thing, it'll be for the best? Blizzard got so lucky with the balance of StarCraft Brood War, it's a total, just like Fortune's End, right? It just happened to be perfect among all three races. That's why this game was absolutely legendary. People come in and they think, oh, we'll allow for multiple building selection. We'll offer customizable hotkeys. We'll offer whatever else. You're ruining the game.
That's true. I'd like to change my opinion. Everybody knows that when you're doing like a Reaver Sarah build, the hardest part is hitting V for Reaver. So it needs to stay that way. I would also like to point out that we announced Brood War Remastered like a week before it was officially announced.
We did on our podcast of all things. So I don't know. Do you want to make any other bold predictions on our podcast that are likely to come true in the gaming world?
Yeah, I've got one prediction.
All
the
right.
tiebreaker for the best year in gaming bracket entry, which is how many total votes will be cast through all 35 battles, over 1 million. That's my bold prediction.
Well, yeah, it's going to be over 1 million. So
I don't think it'll be significantly over 1 million.
let's discuss how we chose this, actually. So I don't know how you guys determined your tiebreaker, but I went and looked at the best game ever contest, each match, before the interference from the Undertale and Melee communities, and we were looking at about 40,000 votes per contest. So I just multiplied that times 35, and I got well over 1 million.
I took 30,000, multiplied it by 35, and added in a fudge factor.
Okay, well, here's a question. How did you know to add in a fudge factor and not subtract a fudge factor?
Oh, I used a random number generator to with a plus minus of a certain range.
You're using an outside program?
Is that
coded it
allowed?
myself.
So if you write a map hack on your own, then it's legal to use it in Brood War?
Last I checked, yes.
I'll have to keep that in mind.
Cut this guy out from the rest of our podcast. Are you kidding me? Got an admitted cheater here. He's got no ethics.
I've never cheated in StarCraft Brood War.
In StarCraft Brood War.
I just had to be clear.
You didn't even use power overwhelming in single player. Show me the money. Operation can't
Well, I'm
wait
sure I've
any
used
longer.
those on occasion. That's
Oh,
Oh, so
okay.
not only did you cheat, but you also lied about it.
If you're lying about that, what else are you lying about?
just about everything else, even my tiebreaker.
Here's the topic for the next podcast: Lord of Dabu, a fading legend, tarnished by accusations which he himself confirmed of his cheating. Ugh. He used to look up to you, man.
Is this really the way the podcast is going to go?
All right. Any closing comments?
I think this will be a fun contest. I know a lot of people are not looking forward to it because they think it's kind of lame. But I think it has some interesting matches in it. I'm looking forward to seeing which ones win. Also, if you like our podcast, be sure to click like and subscribe so you don't miss out on the release of any of our other podcasts.
Don't forget to share it with your friends and family on Facebook
Yeah, do that too.
and MySpace and Instagram and Twitter.
And Zanga Live Journal. All right. Thank you for watching. This is the most excited I've been about anything in about like 9 years.
Shows in your voice.
It really does.
So yeah, thank you for watching and have a great morning, afternoon, evening, or night. Bye.